All right, so you guys have been asking for it. I've been getting a lot of comments asking for an updated settings video for the new season in Warzone. So here we are, another settings video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the best settings for the new season in Warzone, obviously. And then I'm also going to be going through my NVIDIA filters that I've found to work the best for better visibility and colors. And let's just get right into it. All right, so first things first, at your desktop, just go to the search bar on the bottom left and just type in game mode, and you'll see game mode settings right here. So just click that and turn game mode off. Game mode has been known to negatively affect performance in a lot of games, so make sure you turn this off. The next thing we're gonna do is for NVIDIA only. So if you have an AMD graphics card, I'm sorry, just skip ahead a little bit. This is not gonna pertain to you. So just right click your desktop, go to NVIDIA control panel. I'm sure a lot of you guys know about that. And then once it loads up, you'll see adjust image settings with preview up here in the top left. Then you're gonna click use my preference, emphasizing performance, and you're just gonna wanna drag this bar all the way down to performance. Then click apply, and then we'll get into the in-game settings from there. So not much has changed with the in-game settings in Warzone, but I have noticed my performance has been terrible ever since this update, which updating my graphics drivers actually helped a bit. So if you haven't updated your graphics card drivers, make sure you do that, because that boosted my frames by like 10, which usually that doesn't happen. But apparently Warzone was just not running good on the older graphics card driver, and I mean, you should be keeping your drivers updated all the time anyway. I was just kind of being lazy with it, but as always, I always recommend playing in full screen. You're gonna get the least amount of input lag that way. I mean, if you really want to, you can play full screen borderless if you want to tab out and stuff a lot. Where it says screen refresh rate right here, just make sure this is under the actual refresh rate that your monitor is. So if you're at 144 or 240 or whatever it is, make sure that's set here. Otherwise, you're not going to actually be getting that good high refresh rate in game. Render resolution is always at 100. That's where you want it. If it's lower, the game is going to look like garbage. If it's higher, it's going to really negatively impact your frames. Here where it says VSync or sync every frame, you want this disabled. You don't want that unless you're getting a lot of screen tearing and it's really bothering you. I mean, you could enable it then, but I would really recommend against that, because this is going to add a whole lot of input lag, and you just don't want that. For custom frame rate limit, I like to set mine to unlimited. I like to get as many frames as possible, even though I'm barely getting like 120 FPS with this season, which sucks, but it is what it is. Then NVIDIA highlights, if you do have an NVIDIA graphics card, I would disable this. Otherwise, it's going to be recording every little double kill you get, and it's just going to be taking up a lot of space on your computer. So I would recommend against having that on. For NVIDIA reflex low latency, put enabled plus boost here. This is going to make the game use more of your graphics card, and it can reduce latency as well. Display gamma I have at 2.2. For texture resolution, I have found normal to be best this season, and same with texture filter anisotropic, I've found normal to be best as well. For particle quality, I have this on high. Explosions and all that with this turned on to low look extremely blurry, and there's really no FPS difference with this on high, so put it on high. Bullets, impacts, and sprays I have enabled. Tessellation is disabled. On-demand texture streaming I have disabled. With this enabled, Warzone is basically downloading high quality textures to your hard drive while you're playing the game, so I don't see any benefit to that besides potentially making you lag, because even with this enabled, I have noticed no difference in how the game looks. Streaming quality I have set to normal. You would think putting this on low would boost your frames, but it doesn't really at all. It's a 1 or 2 FPS difference, so I keep this on normal. Shadow map resolution I have on low. Shadow is one of those things that really can affect your frames, so putting this on low is usually for the best in most games you play. Then cache spot shadows and cache sun shadows, I have both of these enabled. For whatever reason, having these enabled boosts your frames, so enable those. Particle lighting I have on low. Ray tracing I have disabled. This is one of those things that will really affect your performance, so definitely have this disabled. Ambient occlusion and screen space reflection I both have disabled. And then anti-aliasing, I used to play with the anti-aliasing off, but I've found putting it on the SMAA1X that there is no difference really at all in frame rate, and the game looks a little better. I did test it out a bit with it at this T2X setting too, and I noticed a lot of visual noise, which I'll throw up on the screen right here. We'll see if you guys can really notice that. in the video, but I've noticed a lot of visual noise with this setting on, so I would really recommend against putting it at the T2X and keeping it at just the 1X right here. Then depth of field we have disabled. Filmic strength is turned all the way down. World motion blur and weapon motion blur are both disabled. And then film grain, turn that all the way down. We don't want to make our game look grainy. I'm not sure why this is even an option, but turn that down. And then for my audio settings, I have found boost low to work best for me for hearing footsteps. So if you're looking for a good audio mix, I would really recommend trying out boost low. The game sounds great and it's a lot easier to hear footsteps on this setting. So there's that. And then we're gonna get into the NVIDIA filters. So obviously these NVIDIA filters are only for people who have an NVIDIA graphics card. If you have an AMD graphics card, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to look elsewhere if you're trying to find the best filters for your graphics card. So if you have an NVIDIA graphics card and you're looking for some good filters to use, I'll show you guys what I have found to be the best filters for Warzone. The game looks incredible. It makes the game look a lot better. It's a lot easier to see people in those dark corners and everything just looks more vibrant and colorful. I should note though that by playing with NVIDIA filters, you're going to be losing about 15 to 20 FPS, so do keep that in mind if you put these on. So currently this is how the game looks with the filters off, and if we go to our game filter and we apply the filters here, this is what it looks with it on. It looks just so much better. I'm gonna roll a couple comparisons from in-game of the filters being on and off and the FPS difference right here, so you can decide for yourself if it's something you want to put on and it's really worth it to you. If you don't know how to get your NVIDIA filter set up, I have made a video on that before, so I'll link that in the description. And I also showed my old game filter settings in that video as well, so I would recommend against using those settings because I've found these new settings to work better for this new season. So if you don't know how to set this up, go check out that video, then come back here for the settings and let's just get into the settings. So the first one is details. Make sure this is on top, and these are the settings I have for details. I have sharpen at 10%, clarity at 30%, HDR toning at 30%, and then bloom at 0%. Add brightness and contrast in the middle here, and for brightness and contrast, I have exposure at 0%. I'm cutting this part of the video in because after recording, I have found the contrast setting to be a lot better at 21%. It helps a lot more with seeing in the darker areas inside of buildings, so contrast at 21%, highlights at 0%, shadows at -80%, and then gamma at 0%. On the bottom, you're going to want to add color, and for color, we have the tint color and tint intensity both down to 0%. I have the temperature down to -5.5%, and then I have the vibrance up to 50.7%. If these numbers are a few decimals off, I mean, that's fine. It's gonna look virtually the same, so don't worry about that if you can't get it exact. And do make sure you have these in the right spots, like details on top, brightness and contrast in the middle, and then color on the bottom. Otherwise, your game's gonna look completely different from this, and it kind of defeats the purpose of having these filters on. But I do hope this video helped you guys out. If you do have any questions, just leave a comment down below, or I also do stream Monday through Friday mornings over on Twitch. The link is in the description, so just come say what's up in chat, ask whatever you need to ask, and I'll do my best to help. And if you are new, please consider subscribing, dropping a like if this helped you, and hitting that bell notification thing to get notifications when I upload. I'd really appreciate that, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Here's the web. Peace.